Hey everyone, welcome back to another video by Simplilearn. This is Anubhav, and in this video we will see the comparison of React versus Vue JS. But before we begin, if you haven't subscribed to our channel already, make sure to hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon so you will never miss any update from Simplilearn. So without further ado, let's begin and see what's in it for you. First, we'll see the introduction to Vue and React JS. After that, we'll see what is React JS. Moving ahead, we'll see the features of React JS. After that, we will see what is Vue JS. After that, we'll see features of Vue JS, and then we'll see why React is better than Vue JS. And after that, we'll see why Vue is better than React JS. We'll see the Vue approach and React approaches. After that, we'll see the website that are using Vue and React JS and when to choose React or Vue JS. So let's begin. Vue and React JS are capable, flawless, and satisfying particular commercial categories. Both JS frameworks use properties, virtual DOM, component-based architecture, and Chrome dev tools for debugging. Now, let's move on to see what is React JS. React is a JavaScript library that is used to build mobile and web applications fast and interactive. It is an open source, reusable component-based front-end library for JavaScript. React is a combination of HTML and JavaScript. It provides a robust and optimized way to build modern applications. Now, let's move on to the features of React JS. The first one is JSX. JSX is a syntax extension to JavaScript with React. It is used to describe how the UI should look like, as JSX comes with all the features of JavaScript. Now, let's move on to the second one, which is Virtual Document Object Model, which is DOM. This defines how documents are accessed and manipulated on the web pages. The third one is Performance. There are several ways to speed up the React application by using Virtual DOM because it reduces the re-render time. The next one is One-way data binding. Information flows in one way in React. React receives information through arguments and passes it by returning values. The next one is extensions. React goes beyond simple UI and have many extensions for complete application support. The last and the final one is debugging. Facebook created a small browser extension to make React debugging easier and faster. Now, let's move on to see what is Vue JS. A JavaScript framework called Vue is used to create user interfaces. It provides a declarative and component-based programming approach that enables you to quickly create your interface, regardless of how simple or difficult they can be. It works on top of industry standard HTTP, CSS, and JavaScript. HTML apps can be functions thanks to Vue.js directives. Built-in and user-defined directives are available in Vue.js. Now, let's move on to see features of Vue.js. The first one is Virtual DOM. A virtual representation of the DOM is called the virtual DOM. A JavaScript object identically to the real DOM is constructed using virtual DOM. Every time a modification to the DOM is required, a new JavaScript object is formed and the modifications are made. Later, the final changes are updated in the actual DOM after comparing the two JavaScript objects. The second one is data binding. In Vue.js, data binding comes with a binding directives called vbind. The data binding functionalities assets in manipulating or assigning values to the HTML attributes, changing the style and assigning classes. The next one is components. Components are independent elements with their own data logics and views. One of the Vue.js key features, components, enable the creation of unique elements that can be reused throughout the HTML. The next one is event handling. To listen to the events in Vue.js, the DOM events have the property called vOn, which helps them to listen to the events. The next one is transition or animation. When HTML elements are added, changed, or removed from the DOM, Vue.js offers a variety of technologies to apply the transition. For the transition effect, an element must be wrapped in the built-in transition components of Vue.js. The interface can be more interactive and third-party animation libraries are simple to add. The next one is computing properties. One of the Vue.js key characteristics is its computing properties. Paying attention to the UI elements changes and makes appropriate calculations in beneficial. No further coding is required for this. Moving ahead, we'll see what is templates. It provides HTML based templates that connect the data from the Vue.js instance to the DOM. The templates are converted into the simulated DOM render functions, and the template for render functions can be used by web developers who can then swap them out of the template from the render function. Moving ahead, what is directives? The built-in directives in Vue.js can be used to carry out various front-end tasks, including vif, velse, vshow, von, viewbuild, viewModel, and viewbind. And the last feature of Vue.js is routing. Vue router is used to navigate between pages, regardless of how the URL route was updated. Vue offers an interface to adjust what is displaying on the page. Now, let's move on and see why is React better than Vue.js. React also have the advantages of providing more API choices than virtual DOM. React.js gives developer more options when creating bigger or more complicated programs. Testing is simpler in React. Among this supporting web creation, this service provides super technological assistance with more resources and information available. Now, let's see why Vue.js is better than React.js. Vue.js makes it easier and faster to design web application. There is considerably better and more complete documentation for Vue.js. It facilitates and the straightforward creation of template-based apps. HTML, JavaScript, and CSS are used individually by Vue.js. Vue.js used a template-based approach. Vue.js has considerable easier integration, syntax, and adaptation. Now, let's see the component approach between React.js and Vue.js. First, React claims that everything is straightforward. You can use the same skills to create native iOS and Android apps using React Native. Here, Vue stuff. The Alibaba's Group's Wix project, a cross-platform UI framework, has formal support from Vue. With Wix, you can simultaneously design components for iOS and Android as well as browser using the same UX syntax. Wix is still in the active development stage and is not as mature or experience tested as React Native. A native script plugins for creating genuinely native apps with Vue.js is another variation of native script/Vue. HTML templates are used for component design in Vue.js. Now let's discuss more about this. Similar to React, Vue.js suggests combining the logic and user interface into one file. The Vue.js component code is contained in a particular HTML template. The component code is clearly visible thanks to the template. It makes it easier for programmers to monitor the method, look at the properties, and check for the router render function. The syntax for Vue.js is particular. Double brackets are used as a placeholder for the data. The directives in Vue.js are HTML attributes and they can begin with the prefix Vue/. The system for the framework considers of objects, classes, and behavior types. It is consistent with programmers' knowledge of object-oriented programming. Let's see React uses JSX and simple file component structure. Components render the data on web browser, then include the UI part which is shown to the user HTML and the logic JavaScript. The logic describes functions and method to communicate the data in the browser. React uses JavaScript syntax extension JSX, a syntax language that helps write functions correspondingly to native method for browser. Safari, Chrome, and Firefox are based on JavaScript engines that can directly talk with the logic functions written in the React. Since JavaScript code is enriched with HTML tags, it can't be recognized by the web browser. So React is converting the programming code to the pure JavaScript using Babel translator. JSX allows to return HTML in JavaScript. Also, JavaScript variables can be assigned to HTML tags. Let's move on to the next part, which is React versus Vue flexibility. React's core only offers minimal capabilities. The practical application of this library necessitates the explanation of its capabilities. This provides the developer with a lot of options when picking out a new tool. Additional libraries are typically used to resolve creation of mobile application, server rendering, and application state management. In contrast to React, Vue offers a developer a wider range of standard tools. This enables you to use third-party libraries to address the same issue that the React ecosystem often addresses. Now, let's move on to the differences between React and the Vue.js. React is a JavaScript library that is created and using the JSX approach, while Vue is a model view model JavaScript framework, which is also known as MVVM. This takes a template-based approach. React was available for the public on May 2013 and Vue was available in February 2014. We can create both interactive web applications and mobile applications using React, while we can create web apps using Vue. React application is in normal speed, but on the other hand, Vue is faster and smoother. React was created by Facebook and Vue was created by Laravel and Alibaba. State management library of React is called Mobex and state management library of Vue is called Vuex. Now, let's move on to the popular websites created by Vue.js. First one is Behance. The second one is GitLab. The third one is Trivago. And the fourth one is 9gag. Now, let's move on to see the popular websites using React. Facebook, Instagram, Netflix, Pinterest, and Twitter. Now, let's see which businesses might need to choose React over Vue. Early stages startups that needed fast feature development and validate campaigns on the market, companies that are looking to outsource their department. It is much easier to find a React developer compared to the one with Vue.js expertise. Product-based companies will also require cross-platforming app development, React Native based on React technologies, that it will be a good fit. Now, let's see which businesses might need to choose Vue over React. Companies that approach the market of web-based products, the companies that are looking to implement a single flow in their development process, companies with no previous experience of using frameworks in either build process or those looking to leverage their professionalities with JavaScript. So with this, we have reached the end of this video. If you find this video informative, please like and comment and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.